We welcome now our political panel, Republican strategist John Fleming and Democratic strategist David Carlucci. Gentlemen, great to have you both. Thank you so much for being here. So, John, I'd like to start with this shakeup and the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You know, this jobs report revision, much larger than normal, missing the mark by hundreds of thousands of jobs. We should note the president says he fired the head of labor statistics because he doesn't believe this revision was accurate. He's suggesting this was politically motivated. What's your read, John?
Well, we do, I think, know that this was a Biden appointee. We know how the deep state worked against President Trump during the first administration. I personally worked in the White House myself as Deputy Chief of Staff to President Trump and had to deal with the Census Bureau during 2020 that did exactly the same thing. So I believe the president is correct on this, and I think it's righteous that we make this change.
So you do believe this was a politically motivated, that's your
Yes,
sense. All right.
absolutely.
David, you know, at the same time, the administration is making the case that these recent trade deals, the passing of the big, beautiful bill, these are all going to be powerful forces for good in this economy. Some say these job reports also put more pressure on the Fed to lower interest rates. What are your thoughts on those points and the political manipulation, potentially, that element as well?
Yeah, this is extremely problematic for a multitude of reasons. First, these numbers that we rely on from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they come rooted out of the Great Depression to make sure that we have the gold standard of statistics, that whether they're good, bad, or ugly, that we're all looking at the same thing. But to think that Donald Trump can solve the labor problem by putting heat on the HR department and just going off of gut feelings and pink slips, that's extremely problematic. Why? First, because we're getting a blurred picture of what these numbers really look like. These are economic indicators, not gut feelings, and that's we could debate whether the unemployment rate or the way that it's done is appropriate. But these are the same numbers. Nothing changed. And this administration or anyone else can't point to a single thing that this person did that was politically motivated. And I'll remind the viewers that even J.D. Vance, member of the Senate, confirmed her nomination. So this is just absolutely absurd, and it's very concerning. And I'm hopeful that Donald Trump gives us a little bit more information on why he took such a drastic move.
What are your thoughts, David, on the discrepancies? We know revisions aren't uncommon, but when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of jobs, I'm not suggesting it is politically motivated. I don't know. But when there is a discrepancy like that, it does catch your attention. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
for good reason. For good reason. It's supposed to catch your attention. Yes, these are the worst numbers since 2020, since April of 2020, when we were in the height, the worst of the pandemic. So we need to pay attention, and it cannot be politically motivated. And that's what Donald Trump is trying to do. He wants to put a yes man in this position, and the American public and the world cannot afford it. The world depends on these statistics to be nonpartisan, to make sure that they're not just what the president or the powerful person wants to hear. So yes, maybe Donald Trump has a plan that might be beneficial. We've yet to see that other than just hype and talk. And so maybe he needs to readjust what he's trying to do. But the American public are concerned about these tariffs. They're concerned about these policies, and just on a whim, economic policy and foreign policy is changing, and that's problematic for the markets.
Well,
but most importantly, it's problematic for our pocketbooks.
let's get into some of the changes coming, and I hear your points. Just interesting that is a major discrepancy. So it will be fascinating to see how this plays out and who the replacement may be as well. John, the president also increasing and adjusting tariffs on countries all around the globe, set to go in effect next week. This week, you had the Fed chair saying that companies, namely retailers, have been really paying the brunt of it, adding the price increases are now starting to show up for consumers, and he says he's expecting more of that. What are your thoughts on that analysis and the criticism as well that some items in particular are set for some pretty steep increases now?
Well, remember, we are rebalancing trade. trade has always been favored to other nations against the U.S. We're finally taking control of that. And again, with regard to jobs that we were just speaking about, remember that the big, beautiful bill just passed. The economy is poised for soaring. The only thing left is to get interest rates down. And again, Jerome Powell, who I think has worked on behalf of the Biden administration, slowly raising rates when they should have gone up much faster and now going down too slowly. But that's really the only factor. These tariffs that we're getting down to like in the 15% zone, and that has
Well,
very
just
little
wait.
impact on
That
pricing.
Well,
have you
let me
seen
ask.
what they're proposing for Canada?
You know what, though? Well, those conversations haven't ended yet, David, but I wanted to ask you, a ton of money's coming in now, 130% more than last year. A lot of folks are saying this is going to be critical
Right,
to
that's
pay down
coming
the
out
debt.
of our pocketbooks. That's a tax. Remind everyone, these tariffs are tax on products that we buy, and our manufacturers buy the products that go into them. So having an unprovoked trade war is probably one of the indicators, I believe, that's led to this sharp drop
Well,
in
there
jobs.
is no war
Because
because
people are nervous.
That's
these
been the
rates-
critique. That's been the critique. John, I'll give you 10 seconds to respond, and then we do have to close.
President Trump has cut deals all across, with the EU. He's cut deals all
Not
over
a
the
dollar
world,
of that has
Japan.
come into the
And as a
States yet.
result of that, these tariffs are becoming much more even. We have balanced and fair trade, but we do go through a little bit of a rough spot as we're adjusting. But this is coming out beautifully, and the revenue to the United States and trade balance is much more to our favor now, finally, after all these decades.
Well, we will get a clear snapshot when we do get the final deals on paper. David Carlucci, John Fleming, great to have you both. Thank you so much.
Good to be with you. Thanks.